Reverse rings are one of the cheapest budget options you can buy if you have a camera and if you are looking for a very cheap option to get into macro photography. But are they really worth it? In this video, I'm going to be using reverse rings on 3 different lenses as I go out in the field and try to get some quality shots with each setup. I'm going to give my final opinion on reverse rings at the end of the video and answer the question on if I think they are useful or not. I'm also going to give some tips and some things to consider if you plan on using them for your photography. For my setup in this video, I decided to keep it simple and inexpensive. I'm using my old Nikon D3400 paired with the kit 18 to 55mm lens to start with, and I'm using a simple diffuser that I made out of cardboard, a laminated sheet of paper, and aluminum foil. The reverse rings will be used to turn this lens into a macro lens. Reverse rings are simply just adapters that you screw onto the front of your lens, and this will allow you to flip the lens backwards. Once you flip the lens backwards, it will become a macro lens. The adapter you will need will depend on the 2 things: your camera lens mount and the filter diameter of your lens. The good thing about these rings is that they are very cheap. I got mine off Amazon for just $10, and they will work on any lens that matches the filter size of it. The first thing I tested before even stepping outside was what kind of lens would give the best magnification results, and to my surprise, I found that the shorter the focal length of the lens, the higher the magnification you will have. So a reverse 50mm lens or shorter are the best choices for this style of photography. Coming into this, I really didn't know what to expect because this was my very first time using a reverse lens out in the field, and I knew nothing about reverse rings at the time of me recording this session. The only thing I tested prior to this was the magnifications on different lenses. I thought I would maybe be able to take some okay shots with this setup, and I was completely wrong. The very first shot I took, I noticed how bad the diffraction was. It was terrible, but there's a reason for this. Once an automatic lens is reversed, it will lose all electronic contacts with the camera and become a fully manual lens with no aperture control. Your aperture will be set at the highest f-stop by default, which is bad because at high f-stops, it can be impossible to take sharp macro photos because of diffraction. So if you want to take sharp photos with reverse rings, I don't recommend using automatic zoom lenses. I was a little disappointed with the results from the first outing, but at this point in time, I just automatically assumed the photos came out so bad because reverse rings are super cheap without knowing the real reason why yet. My thought process coming into this session was prime lenses are sharper than zooms, so maybe my photos will come out better this time. On this outing, I used an AF-S Nikkor 50mm lens that I had laying around, hoping for much better results this time. I can say that the results were definitely better than the kit lens, but the diffraction was still very noticeable and none of the photos turned out as sharp as I'd like. Once again, I was disappointed with the results, and I honestly was going to give up on trying to use reverse rings again until I finally did some research and found out why none of my photos were coming out sharp. Once I finally figured out why the photos in my previous sessions didn't come out as sharp as I'd liked, I bought a cheap 50mm lens with an aperture ring that I found on Amazon for $130 in hopes that I can take some quality photos with a reversed lens. And luckily for me, this was the answer I was looking for. Having full control over the aperture was a big game changer, and I noticed the difference right away. The shots with this setup came out a lot sharper than I expected. Overall, reverse rings can be a good option for macro photography if you are on a budget, but I don't think it's the best budget option if that's what you are looking for. I think extension tubes or a Raynox DCR 250 are much better budget options, and if you want to learn more about those, I will leave videos that cover both of those on the end screen. If you do plan on getting reverse rings, it's important to remember that the quality of your photos depends on the lens you are using. If you want the best quality possible, I recommend using a manual 50mm lens with an aperture ring so you have full control over it. A 50mm reverse lens will give you nearly 1-to-1 magnification, which is perfect for most macro subjects. If you've ever used reverse rings for your macro photography, then let me know what you think about them down in the comments. But I hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, then consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. I'll catch y'all in the next one.